fresh air.
Welcome to another episode of The Artificial Mind. We are here. It's a beautiful day. It's spring
Spring.
and it's
Full-fledged.
beautiful out, and I'm feeling pretty good. We're going to talk about novel AI today, but I want to kind of like showcase a couple things. I mean, we're all fans of AI music, and I mean, you hear this one playing. So I want to check. I wanted to play a couple things.
Now, where did you get these?
This is from Suno.
Okay.
Um, it's actually really fun. I have my own account. I have my own songs in here too. But let's hear a couple songs real quick.
Let's do it.
Let's hear a couple songs. So this one is called "Coffee in the Morning" by Wildest Basis.
This
Okay,
is down
you
my
ready?
alley. Yeah, oh yeah, I need coffee in the morning. Maybe 2 steps. You know what's funny is I would play this at work and they would love that crap. They would love it.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
That is a good one.
That's a super fun one. I mean, and this is all coming from Suno.
That's legit.
It's getting so much better. You want to hear another one?
Well, yeah.
This one is called "Avoiding Taxes."
Woke up this morning feeling kinda blue. Paperwork piling up, don't know what to do. Got receipts scattered all across the floor. Time to face the music, can't avoid it anymore. Oh no, no, no. Filling out forms, numbers flying around my head. Calculations, deductions, wishing I were in bed. 2 to 99s, where do I begin? Hoping for a refund, but the ends are pretty thin. Oh no, no, no. Taxing my brain, oh, it's driving me insane. Dollars and cents, just trying to make sense. Counting every penny, every dollar that I spent. Oh, it's a taxing game. Come on and join the dance.
I hope you brought your W-4. A 1099? No good for you.
It's a taxing game. Come on and join the dance. Late at night, papers all piled high. Numbers changing, nothing moving, never in the stack. Fight me or hedge, trying to keep on track. O-U-2s and 1099s, they're closing in. Highlighter in hand. Gotta find those missing pins, the calculator hums. The clock ticks away, but I won't let exhaustion have its way.
Do you know your adjusted income? I don't.
2 and 1099s, they're closing in. Highlighter in hand. Gotta find those missing pins, drifted away, but I won't let exhaustion have its way. Yeah.
It's definitely improved.
It's a Jackson game. Come on, and join the dance.
Now that started off kind of, I don't know, and then yeah,
And then it picked up.
yep.
So we have another one called Hypnagogic Garage. It's like the genre Hypnagogic Garage by Groovebot. This is called Within Celestial Wanderings. I think this one might be more your vibe.
This might be it. This sounds good.
In nights and rain, but tighter dreams we near. How tangled are the truths in moonlight here. Nights that are free coming. Right here, desert rails in black void and you. Eternal starlights, cryptic silence, so spreads our existence far yet never alone. In every realm we wander, right or wrong, we seek alone in chaos to belong. A spectre dressed in shroud, even suns fade away into the cloud. Yet in this cosmic drift, ephemeral
Cosmic
world, we
drift.
dance for shadows that find him out.
Wow.
Just like that.
That was
That's-
a good one.
That sounds like something from Euro music, like from that early '80s. Very disco-y kind of. I'm sensing like that was #1 in Poland.
Yeah. I'm gonna do two more. You want to do
Do
two
two more. Why not?
So do they? Oh, look, they actually have things separated in genres now. So, what genre do you want, Strobridge?
I don't know if they have it. I want
Russian
Motown
music.
metal. I doubt they have that.
No, they have metal, but it's not Motown.
Okay. So
We
a metal
got-
Motown to me is like heavy
It's
metal, but a
it's-
Motown guy singing. Or
So
girl.
it says we got blues, funk, rap, pop, classical, instrumental, jazz, metal, rock, and EDM.
EDM.
All right. This one is called this. And these songs are like 2.5 minutes long too. It's pretty cool. We got to bring back Tam Radio. This next one is called Knights of the Dance Floor. Let's see how this one goes.
Damn.
We look like two jackasses right now.
I keep picturing like Japan anime and stuff. Okay, oh. The theme music to
That's what I'm thinking too.
Dragon Ball Z kind of. This is definitely Euro too.
Yeah.
I could actually play this on flute, I think.
Probably.
Maybe.
All right. right, so you want to stick with EDM or you want to go to
Well, switch up. Go the other. Go downwards. Go
um
blues or something.
Soviet techno?
That's what that sounded like to me. Is that what that was?
No, no, no. I don't
That
know what
was kind of Soviet techno to me.
I mean, this is Soviet techno.
Аннигиляторная пушка.
Ooh, Yamarika. Babushka. Baklava.
So interestingly enough, Soviet techno is a thing. It's called Soviet wave.
Huh. Now, back in early 2000s, a guy gave me a CD of Russian techno, and I found it again recently, and it's good. I like it. It's
Yeah,
like when they had their little wave of it, and then like in the 70s when they, for lack of a better description, krautrock,
yeah.
kind of like that stuff.
Interesting, interesting. But today, that was actually a good warm up.
Hmm.
I enjoyed that a lot. But today we are talking about novel AI. Novel AI was developed by a team called Latin, ANLATAN. I don't, I. It's hard for me to read
Put it down.
news and anything else in another language for me. It's
Well, who
that
wouldn't?
and then you have the translators, but this is all like new information. This is a very
Hmm.
interesting new tool that we have. Actually, because like I have here, everything is more like news references, but it is a online cloud based SaaS model. SaaS model is a software as a service, and a paid subscription service for AI assisted story writing and text to image synthesis. This was launched in June 15th, 2021, with the image generation feature implemented later in 2022, and it is owned and operated by Latin, which is headquartered in Wilmington, Delaware.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm trying to get more information because
For as fancy as the
everything.
name it is, you wouldn't think it'd be in Delaware. I was picturing like another country.
Ah, so when I go to Latin, it brings me directly to here. We're here to make ripples in the AI world. Our
They're
active
doing that.
projects novel, so they have novel AI and novel AI diffusion. So this is what they're making a whole system through here. They're about says follow the ripples of change in the world of artificial intelligence. Our mission is user-friendly customizable AI experiences in line with your rights to privacy and transparency through AI research that brings out waves of change. Our unrestricted GPT powered sandboxes provide you the tools to unleash your creativity. What's This is really cool. So, like we just said, it uses a GPT-based large language model to generate story writing. It also has several models such as Calliope, Sigurd, Euterpe, Crake, and Genji, with Genji being a Japanese language model. But the service also offers encrypted services and customizable editors. For AI art generation, which generates images from text prompts, Novel AI uses a custom version of the source available Stable Diffusion text to image diffusion model called Novel AI Diffusion, which is trained on Damburu based dataset. It is also capable of generating a new image based on an existing image. And the novel AI terms of service states that all generated context belongs to the user, regarding of the if the user is an individual or a corporation. And Latin states that the generated images are not stored locally on their servers.
Good.
So this is very exciting stuff. I mean, we were just talking about Dungeon AI, which I'm having a blast with, by the way. I can't stop using it. And novel AI is actually something that I was familiar with a couple years ago when it first came out, because excuse me,
So it kind of predated Chat GPT in a sense, or they came out about the same time.
might have been around the same
It's
time. Let's see,
because Chat GPT, it's been out for a while now because we've been doing this for a minute, so it's
22.
okay.
So yeah, it's about a year, just a little over a year older than ChatGPT, and then we have, I mean, Sora. What's
Mm-hmm.
going on with that? Is that oh, it's not open yet, is it? Nope.
Taking their sweet time. Maybe that's good. Well, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting when that happens, but it is what it is. But today's
Mm-hmm.
novel AI. So we are able to make stories and possibly author books with this tool. Um, again, you guys already know the negativities of it. Let's talk about the positivities of it. The positivities of AI. But Strobridge, you guys to play around with this. What are your
Yeah.
tell me everything and don't hold anything back.
um, Me being more of a, I'm not gonna say natural writer makes me sound kind of egoish, but I like always like to write stories. I could just never finish them basically. But this kind of helps me. Like, what was it? Thursday night, I was like, okay, I got homework. I got to write this story out. And I seen all the options you can do with this. Like, you can go into the dungeon part and do like a role play, I guess, if you will. But I wanted to get this story out because I've had this in my head forever. So for the most part, I wrote it on my own, and then I started initializing the AI with it here and there, and it gave me some good ideas. Sometimes it would like veer off, kind of where from what I wanted to go with it. So I would just delete that part and then write in something, and then it would get back on track with me. So that was nice. It was pretty instant. I didn't have to keep messing with it like you would in like Mid Journey, where you got to move around the words a little bit to get
Yeah.
more of what you want. That you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff in this. But yeah, I tried a couple of the role play, I guess. I don't remember which ones they were. They were pretty quick because I would try those and then I'd go back to my
Oh,
story.
like the
I'd try those.
scenarios, the
Yes.
scenarios. That's
Yep.
what it was. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I like it.
Yeah, it's really fun. I play It's funny because I stumbled across this around the time it first came out,
Hmm.
and I have been working on a specific story. I don't want to give out the title or anything like that. It's still like super early, but I've been using it to help me kind of get my imagination going, kind of help me figure out where I'm
Stir the
stuck
pot.
at.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah,
Stir it.
I really, because I've always had the characters, I've always had the basis, I've always had, everything there, but I didn't know how to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
And
Get them moving.
Novel AI is helping me fill in the blanks. And it's interesting too because I'm also like kind of doing the same thing with AI Dungeon as well. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. Like a lot of fun. And novel AI seems, I mean, you could build, like, it has the lore book. Did you get to mess with the lore book? So you can add in your own, you could build your own world
Yeah, like the
with
factions and
this.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that is so cool. Like with when you're using novel AI, you want to train the AI to kind of understand what story you're trying to portray. For example, the one I was trying to portray was about a small town on the top of a hill in the middle
Hmm.
of a city during a war, and this little community survived by resourcing itself,
Hmm.
planting its own crops. It was in a good area for water and you just
So your stories didn't necessarily have like a multi-faction, kind of like where I am with my stories. It's usually a group, maybe two, but no more than that.
Yeah.
Usually, as far as when I have concepts in my head.
Yeah,
It's
well,
just
what's
when
really
you.
cool is that you able to add in characters, you're
Hmm.
able to add in backgrounds, locations, build the world that you want to build,
And it
and
keeps track of that for you too.
it
Like,
really does. It'll resource it for you, which is incredible to me.
hmm
Incredible.
that's like I'd almost think of when they're trying to do movies from books, or like good case Fallout. They got Todd Howard on site to keep with the storyline, and I think
Yeah.
that's kind of what this does for people writing stories. Is that it will keep track for you, so you don't always have to like, okay, this faction's over here. It's going to tell you that, or you're going to see it right there, so you can go back to it. Whereas, like, you don't have to keep it all up in here for you can dump a little bit.
Yeah. It's and you could emotionally dump into it too. That's the
Hmm.
thing. Like you could really get into this and just
And see what
really,
it can do for you. Yeah,
yeah. So you wrote the story?
yeah.
Would
Um,
you like to read it?
yes, I would.
Story time with Strobridge. I want to hear what your story came out to. Mine is way too long.
Speak pretty quick here.
I'll try. Story time gets me sleepy, just so you know.
Well, the way I talk in this, hopefully it's a little kind of entertaining. We'll see here. And I was trying to think of if I tell you where this story came from before or after. I think I'll wait till after. And we'll add a little more. Oh, okay. Uh, I didn't give it a title, so I'm going to give it one now. This is called The Interview. It was a beautiful, depressing day as I woke up. I would lumber out of bed and walk to the sliding glass window that peered out my backyard. Animals chirping, sun shining, me hacking up a lawn. Morning traditions. As it happens in life, I woke up to another day jobless. 3 weeks of diving headlong into job agencies, resumes sent, resumes turned down. Some resumes said that I was overqualified. What the fuck is that in this day and age? I still read the paper. Yes, the stuff that's made from trees. Sue me, I like the texture. And some places still only post hirings in local newspapers, usually mom and pop places or small time firms. And I have been known to find a rare oyster in the job market that suits my meager needs at the time. I don't crave money the same way others do, so I don't feel pressured, obviously, to go for the first thing that offers me a bucket and mop. But 3 weeks is my mark, my own personal limit, cash limit, basically. Not that there were too many postings listed, mostly stuff out of my league, if you ask me, or tired careers that I've exhausted in mind over the years. Mainly custodial work and group home stuff. I seem to not be bothered by the simplicities of your common household cleaners, and the concept of scrubbing something away and restoring the initial look of it really put me in a zen. It so happens after a few inquiries that posting caught my eye because it had a great big eye as its icon, followed by the words, "Do you love nature? Do you consider yourself to have a green thumb? We are looking for you." No number was printed on the post, only an address and rather vague instructions on how to navigate the building the interviews took place in. Suite Fort 19, excuse me, Suite Fort 19, level 4. The drive wasn't far from my house, which is always nice. Gasoline isn't cheap, so after about 20-minute drive into town, I find that building and park my car in the lot. Hardly any cars are there, and quite scattered for such a tall building. I only counted maybe 4 cars in the vicinity. I entered the building to find the entrance was empty. No one is waiting in chairs. There appears to be no type of concierge or greeter of any type, just a directory on the wall listing the floors and companies assigned. The elevator is another indication that something is odd about this place. No arrow buttons for the elevator, no down arrows, I should say. Buttons for the elevator, only up ones, and one arrow button and two arrow buttons. I chose the one arrow button. The elevator doors open to a desolate office space, 40 square feet of office, just empty. There was a door at the other end of the room with a tiny table next to it. Slowly making my way to the other side of the room, all sorts of scenarios are running through my head. Am I being punked? Am I being scammed? That type of stuff. Job opportunities at this point seemed a little less important as my spidey sense made me curious as to what was behind this office door. On the table was an index card with instructions to enter room 1B and to have a seat. A representative from the HR will be notified of your presence and you will conduct your interview shortly thereafter. Again, I couldn't just resist a good intrigue into my imagination as I came to room B. No one is in sight for both directions of the hallway. No phones, no chatter, no typical noises of a running office suite. I slowly opened the door and sort of peeked my way as if to fully swing the door wide open, only to find an empty white room with a red pillow on the floor. Recalling the instructions, I made myself comfortable Indian style on the pillow, a rather comfy pillow as it was big enough to fit my legs without bending over the edges. I waited for some time. The first couple minutes were kind of like moods of optimism, followed by questioning myself if anyone knows I'm here. 20 minutes had passed, and as I looked at my watch, I started to feel like my initial thought was that I was being punked. I'd actually hold some water. It was about this time I started to hear a short grumble or rattle, like you would hear of old pipes in the walls. But this place was relatively new, and at times it sounded like bumping, sometimes scratching, but the sounds were directed from the floor in front of me. Deducting that perhaps the vents in this building could be in the floors, I dismissed my first passive assumption. Suddenly, the grumbling started to sound like cracking, like concrete being broken from an earthquake. Small imperfections in the floor began to appear, then larger ones, like a gopher pushing the soft grass from above. Not breaking through, but definitely moving the earth. Cracks grew bigger to where that what appeared to be a plant-like structure coming out of the floor, very smoothly, inching its way out of cracks, growing at an intense rate. The cracking continued to get louder, and the floor was no longer smooth, but was becoming rough and uneven, until the red pillow I sat on was no more. In its place was a large root. That stood before me was a 7 foot tall lush fern with branches stretching to every corner of the room. It was then that a voice out of nowhere began to echo its way into my mind. Hello, it greeted. Can you hear me? Do you understand me? Huddled in a fetal position, I began to peer out of my forearm to see what it was that had entered the room to ask if there was any question or ask me these questions. I thought someone had been in the room. Through my arms, I could see it was roots and fern branches. No one here but me and this fern. It started down on me. It started to dawn on me that perhaps this communication was taking place was between me and the fern. As I unfurled from my defensive position, I began to say out loud, "Hello back. My name is Jeremie." And after about 10 seconds, a 10-second pause, I added, "How are you today?" A few moments pass, and the response, that of a delightful being, didn't didn't getting out too much and loved company. "Oh, you must tell me about yourself." Finally, without any doubt, I knew who I was speaking to. I was speaking to a fern, a female fern to be exact. We spoke for a long while, I would say at least an hour. She would ask me what things meant, how I felt things, and what would make me happy. I explained to her that I was here for a job and I was waiting for an interview, but I think the job may have been false or the company wasn't legit and got shut down in the building. "Oh, no," she replied. "The job is still open. I need someone who loves to be around plants, someone with a green thumb, if you will." "Go on," I said. Fernda, as I now called her in my head, started rattling off what she would like in an employee. "You must love nature, have a positive outlook on life, must be able to care and nurture, must be willing to accept change and move forward with it." I replied, "I can do all that." After a few more exchanges and positive feedback from both the fern and I, the plant ended with a rather odd question. "Before you go, I must know, what can you offer this firm fern?" Plant was kind of playing a pun with me there. What will you make? What will make you stand out from other applications or applicants? I had a pretty good feeling at this point that I had landed the job, but there was a bit of a catch. What would you have me do? Would I be a gardener? I thought. Would I just come here to this damn near empty building every day and just mentally chat with the vegetation as a job? This whole thing was like a Twilight Zone episode or a dream, I thought. It's absurd to go on any longer thinking that this job would entail anything out of the ordinary. Fernda, the fern, the plant, whatever you started to speak. We are an ecosystem, a team, a group, a family. But more than anything, we are symbiotic. What benefits me will in turn benefit you. starting with the simplest of gestures. As a sign of goodwill or impression, what can you offer this firm before you leave here today? Oh, wow, I wasn't expecting a request like that, I thought. My initial thoughts were to offer her some air or light-hearted talk. But then I looked at the size of the fern, and it occurred to me that there was an option from my point of view for it to get water. And at this point, I had been conversing with the plant for at least 2 hours or more. Who knows? Building up a full bladder the size of a Hoover Dam. It's all, it's all or nothing in this interview, I concluded. Be bold. How does a golden shower sound? I asked. It was an awfully quiet moment that went by, not a peep coming from Fernda. Perhaps I had overstepped a line somewhere, but it was all I could come up with that didn't seem like a cop out or unimaginative. I heard no response. So with an awkward moments, I stood up from the floor and unzipped my fly and began to urinate on Fernda. The
What?
first stream was long and straight and seemed to be absorbed into the fern, and then another, and then a third, and with the fourth and third having to make a slight adjustment or two as to my aim was slightly off and the angle was becoming more difficult as I was running out of piss. How the plant was going out of its way to catch my pee. Finally, I finished with a hefty sigh of relief, as did Fernda, who was now drenched in my piss. You're hired, she replied. When can I start? Or when can you start? Fernda asked excitedly. I think I just did, Mom. The end. Now that was a dream I had years ago, and it played out like a Twilight Zone or movie in my head, and I finally got it out as best as I could. Finally got it out,
Oh my God.
and I was hired.
So that was a long story, right?
It
And
was.
even then, I was trying to figure out, like, is there, like, what's gonna happen here? Like, what's gonna happen next? Is this just going to be a diary of what he did during
Mm-hmm.
the day? But it also kind of sounds like a lucid dream at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
because you were making decisions in between, and you were going this direction, that direction, making choices, like you were playing the Bethesda game.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought was super interesting. You were able to detail everything that was going on, and that the novel AI was able to summarize it for you.
Mm-hmm.
But what the hell happened with the whole pissing on Fernda thing?
It's just in the dream. Like in the dream, it didn't really have a sex. It was just
And
it
then,
was still it was still communicating with me telepathically, but it did ask me, "What can you offer this fern or firm?" Like the firm, like it's a company,
yeah,
like firm, but at the same time, it's a fern. So it was like throwing this pun joke at me in the
and then
dream.
you
I was like,
piss on it.
and then I just decided, what else can I do? It's a plant. What can I give it? What can I offer this plant in my dream? So that's exactly what I did. I just peed on it and it said, "You're hired." And I woke up.
And you see, there is no limitation with what you can do on novel AI. I mean, that
Dreams
is.
and AI.
Can you export that and send that to me so I
I do
can?
have that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, please send that to me.
Now, what's funny here is that it added something after I typed in the N. It says a few years had passed since my encounter with the
Oh
fur
no,
with
there's
the
a sequel.
yeah. It's just one sentence. It says a few years had passed since my encounter with the fem fern, and I can say without a doubt that I was blessed by the experience. That's what it added.
That is incredible. And guys, look, you don't know what you're gonna get on the artificial mind. Maybe we
No,
should go more like a comedic route with this, right?
I was kind of going. 'Cause I was trying to give it the initial how I felt in the dream, what was going on. It was just like I'm deducing, like, am I really getting messed with here, or in the dream, I couldn't tell if I was. It started just like going for a job, right? Like you're going to a job
Yeah.
interview, and then just all the indications that would tell you it's a job interview aren't there. So you're like, what the hell's going on? Like empty rooms, empty white rooms, just no one's there. Just and then you don't run out of the building. You keep going. So it's just like deeper, 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 and then yeah, a freaking fern talking to
Amazing.
plants.
Amazing. Well, I love it, man. I think that was a hell of a story, and it's definitely, if that doesn't entice you to use novel AI, I don't know what will. To be honest with you, and we're not affiliated with them. I just want to point that out. We're not affiliated with them. They didn't ask us to do this. We're not getting paid for this. I mean, obviously, because we're using
Yeah, because I just put
Riverside
my
and
own
not,
idea.
yeah, you know. I just that was cool. That was cool. It's really cool that you're able to do something like that. Um, and yeah, I can't wait to for you guys to join us for next week's episode. You know, we don't know what that's going to be yet, but we know it's going to happen.
Because novel AI ain't going nowhere. Novels ain't going anywhere either, I guess. So
No, it's not. No, it's not. And it's just the beginning. So guys, thank you so much for coming to another episode of The Artificial Mind. This was it is myself, Jonathan Sanchez, Clean Sanchez, whoever you know me from, and my one of my best friends, Jeremie Strobridge.
otherwise
Um,
known as Germ.
or Germ. And also, it was just his birthday, so make sure you wish him a happy birthday. I know we were off the last 2 weeks, but you know how it is. We do the best we can to make sure that we put out an episode as much as
Mm-hmm.
possible. So, so long, farewell, and get to writing.
Wiedersehen.
Send us in your stories. I want to see what you guys come up with.
Yeah, if you know some people that listen to this, if they weren't really into like drawing and artsy stuff with our mid journey stuff, maybe they're into stories more, and they
Yeah.
could give us an idea here.
And one final thing, Australia, thank you. We saw
30,
that we
baby.
were number 30 in your rankings recently. That could have changed. We know how rankings work in the whole podcast space, but we did make it to number 30 in Australia. Thank you so much. We couldn't be more grateful for you guys coming in. We love you. Take care. Don't abuse AI and drink water.
Drink the water.
All of it.
All of it.